Hello, we are from Person Care Providers. We are going to present information about long-term care patients. Oftentimes, people think that the only clients serviced in long-term care are the elderly. Today, we will explain the other side of long-term care patients.
Long-term care services can be provided to an array of clients. Some clients can be of a very young age and others can be in the elderly population. Some clients may have been born with physical, mental, or developmental disabilities such as children with autism or other genetic conditions. Other clients may be middle-aged adults who face life-changing injuries that made them physically disabled and unable to care for themselves anymore. In 2015, the Family Caregiver Alliance conducted a survey and found that 63% of people in long-term care are 65 and older. That is 6.3% that are in long-term care. The remaining 37% are 64 and younger. That is 3.7 million people as of 2015. Though this may be a lower statistic compared to the elderly population, but this is still a very significant number.
Many children born with physical and developmental disabilities due to rare genetic conditions face difficult circumstances in long-term care due to the lack of coverage for their medical equipment. Oftentimes, they jump through loopholes just to receive equipment that will assist them in their daily lives. Insurances often put a cap on the amount of money they provide to these children and these families. They are often left on their own to find support to cover the remaining cost. Here we see a child, Bradley, who was born with a rare genetic disorder. Bradley requires medical equipment that can cost several $100s and can go into the thousands, and insurance companies cover very little of those costs. Bradley's family was fortunate to find a charity that assisted them in paying for the cost of his medical equipment. However, that is not the case for a lot of these children and their family.
Since the elderly population is oftentimes seen as the face of the long-term care, they have more of an advantage over children with disabilities or middle-aged adults who need these services. When it comes to the elderly population, their needs can be more similar and lack diversity compared to children with rare genetic conditions or adults who had a life-changing injury that caused them to need long-term care services. These are just a few of the obstacles faced by the other clients serviced in long-term care.
Oftentimes, clients max their private insurance first within a couple months, followed by Medicaid, which needs a prior authorization. Next, they have to wait for Medicare coverage to kick in, which takes up to 6 months. That is why they need to be approved for Medicaid to have some sort of coverage in the meantime. By this time, hopefully, the client has been approved for Social Security disability, but that in and of itself is a timely process. These individuals and families are calling for advocates, and they need help navigating these unfamiliar waters that never really expected or planned for. There is no foolproof plan because each case is on an individual basis. Unfortunately, insurance companies are not really trying to help these people.
Many of those who find themselves in need of long-term care services never knew that they would ever need it, and they find that the process very confusing and difficult to understand, what their insurances cover and what is not covered. A lot of times these clients never had to financially plan that they would be in need of services and medical equipment. They find themselves financially burdened from the lack of assistance insurance companies offer or don't offer to them. Insurance companies often don't aid them until their disabilities are very severe, or they just take them off of the assistance if they max their coverage. We were able to conduct an interview with a man who had an unfortunate accident. This accident changed his life forever. He will discuss his difficulties in long-term care and the difficulties he faced with having to get these unexpected services.
Many notable celebrities, scientists, and professionals that were not elderly have had to receive long-term care services. Those include the first Superman, Christopher Reeves, who became paralyzed at the age of 42 following an equestrian accident. Famous physicist Stephen Hawking, who developed ALS at a young age and was later paralyzed by motor neuron disease. Talk show host Montel Williams, who at the age of 42 was diagnosed. Actor, producer, writer Michael J. Fox, who at 30 years old was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Thank you for watching our video. This video was brought to you by the Burston Care Providers. We hope you learned some invaluable information